NooCube is one of the more popular and recommended nootropics out there on the market today. But how does it stack up against the competition, and how does it perform in the real world? Today we're going to find out in this SOMA Analytics NooCube review. Let's go. Hey, how's it going? My name is Jason, the founder of SOMA Analytics, a place where we test supplements designed to optimize your mental agility. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you want to stay on top of our latest tests, make sure you hit that subscribe button now. So today we're going to be reviewing NooCube, one of the first nootropics that really took the world by storm and gained a lot of popularity. Now, since then, they have updated their formula. And so if you've read or watched a review that's a few years old on NooCube, it could well be that that's outdated. Now, it does have its detractors, as well as having lots and lots of recommendations from many publications online. So today we're going to be delving into NooCube, looking at what it includes, what's in it, the side effects that it has, what benefits we should expect, and what benefits I had after taking it for 30 full days. And ultimately, I'll be telling you whether or not it's probably a good fit for you. Now, the first thing to point out with NooCube, and this is not something that we have with all nootropics, but it's stimulant free. So there's no caffeine in NooCube at all. Now, for some people, that's going to be a real plus. If you're a coffee drinker and you don't want to cut down on your caffeine intake through coffee, then NooCube could be a great addition, or at least in theory. And also for people that are sensitive to caffeine or just don't want to take on board too much caffeine, then of course, NooCube is going to be pretty suitable in that respect. So before we get into the kind of reported benefits or side effects, and before we look at the ingredients, I'm going to go straight in and tell you exactly what happened to me when I took this supplement. So the first thing to say is that it comes in capsule format, and the recommended dose for NooCube is 2 capsules per day. But they do say that you can increase this up to 4 capsules per day if you want to have more significant results. Now, the biggest criticism that I've ever seen of NooCube is that some of the doses are a little bit on the low side. So for example, if we look at something like alpha GPC, there's only 50 milligrams of that per serving, which yes, is on the face of it on the low side. But then where NooCube performs well is that it has some really strong alternative ingredients such as Bacopa monieri and cat's claw and oat straw extract. We also get the likes of L-theanine, but we're going to go into those ingredients in a moment. Really what I want to tell you is the impact that it had on me. So like I said, 2 capsules per day is the recommended dose. So that's what I had. And I took those at the beginning of each day. So I had breakfast and then I would have my capsules. Then I would head to the gym, and by the time I was back from the gym, I'd be expecting these to have kicked in. So that's about an hour into my day. Now, for the first 3 or 4 days, I didn't really notice any difference whatsoever, I've got to be honest. And it's probably not surprising because of the lack of stimulants. It's not a product or a supplement that you're going to get that instant impact from. However, by the time I got to day 10, that was where I started to feel a little bit more of an impact. And by the end of week 2, I definitely felt that I was more productive. I had a little bit more energy. I almost felt less anxious as well, which is a good thing. And my sleep patterns my quality of sleep had certainly improved. So I track my sleep using this Aura ring, and my sleep data was really, really solid, particularly in terms of deep sleep. Now, on my 4th week, I decided to increase the dose. So I got myself another bottle of NooCube. In fact, I had 3 to start with, so I knew I had plenty. And I started to take 4 capsules per day. And that is where I really started to notice a more significant difference. Now, is that because the dose of NooCube is a little bit low? Possibly, but it could also be because I've had a lot of nootropics over the years and I'm probably just a little bit less impacted by them now because I've already got a lot of the stuff in my system. But having said that, on 4 capsules per day, the impact felt pretty strong, pretty impactful, I have to say. And I was very, very focused through the day. I was taking 2 for breakfast, or 2 with breakfast, and then 2 at lunchtime. And it really kept me going. It really kept me focused, lack of procrastination, all of that good stuff. And I have to attribute at least some of that down to the taking of NooCube. And the one thing that I certainly couldn't put down to anything else is the improvement in the quality of sleep that I was having. And most likely that is due to the 100 milligrams of L-theanine that we see in here, as well as some of those other ingredients. Now, in terms of side effects, I didn't notice any significant side effects whatsoever. I think the one thing I would say is that it is important to take these supplements with food. You could possibly get some sensitivity in the stomach in terms of digestion if you were taking them on an empty stomach. The serving suggestions do say to take them with food, and I think that's a really important point to make. But for me personally, there were no negative side effects at all. So let's take a look at the ingredients, and if you do want more detail on this, then head over to the SOMA Analytics website, where we have a full review that goes into the ingredients in a lot of detail. The one thing you'll see with NooCube is that it has a bit of a more herbal and alternative medicine or traditional medicine type profile to the ingredients. Now, this again will appeal to a lot of people. It might put some people off. Personally, I think the ingredient profile is pretty strong here. So we'll start off with that Bacopa monnieri, which is a herb that is fairly well researched, and there's plenty of evidence to suggest that it impacts memory in a positive way, as well as reducing anxiety. We then get 250 milligrams of L-tyrosine, which helps the brain to produce melatonin and really gives that regulation of hormones in the body. So it has a very calming effect. We then get 175 milligrams of cat's claw. Now, cat's claw actually comes from a vine found in the Amazon rainforest, and there's lots of uses for it in medicine today, and it's all fairly experimental stuff, but one of the benefits that is purported is that it can prevent aging in the brain. So this is more of a long-term benefit to taking NooCube. We then get that 100 milligrams of L-theanine, which we find in green and black tea. It's found in some mushrooms, and this is really good at helping to produce serotonin, and it's that kind of happiness hormone. We get 50 milligrams of alpha GPC. This is the one area where I think NooCube lets itself down. We would like to see those levels quite significantly higher, but it's still good to have it in there. Now, alpha GPC helps to improve and repair neurotransmitters in the brain, which are all good for things like attention and memory. We get 20 milligrams of marigold extract. Again, this is a more experimental inclusion, but again, there's evidence to suggest it helps with memory and speed of thinking. It's also an antioxidant, so it's going to have protective benefits for the brain too. We get 14.3 milligrams of resveratrol, which again is something that's rich in antioxidants, and there are some banks of evidence to suggest that it can help with focus. We get a really solid vitamin B complex with B1, B7 and B12. B7 in particular, which is in the form of biotin, and that is thought to help with the nervous system, which can help in terms of anxiety and also boost energy and promote good quality sleep. And that quality of sleep is one that I'm going to keep coming back to, because that was a key benefit for me. And we know there's plenty of studies now, there's plenty of evidence nowadays to suggest the importance of sleep in terms of cognitive repair and cognitive functioning. So all of these small benefits will help both in the short term, but more importantly in the long term in terms of brain health. So who should take NooCube? I think that's a really good question, because I think anyone looking for a quick short-term fix is probably not going to find it with NooCube. However, anyone looking for that long-term, maybe lower impact nootropic benefit, but really looking to protect themselves in terms of long-term cognitive decline, improving kind of anxiety and sleep quality, I think you're really going to benefit from NooCube. I certainly felt an impact. It's a shame that the dose is relatively low for things like alpha GPC, but for everything else, it's fairly well dosed. I think the new formula is much better than the old one, and yeah, it's a good quality nootropic. There's no doubt about that, and you can see why it has a lot of supporters online. So if you do want to get NooCube, there is a link down in the description below. It should take you to the best prices available. Generally, it's only available through the manufacturer themselves, so head there and take a look. In terms of other options, if you are interested in seeing where NooCube places in terms of our top nootropics, then take a look at our website, somaanalytics.com, with a dash in the middle. Again, there'll be a link in the description to that below. If you found this video useful, I'd really appreciate you hitting that like button. And if you want to stay up to date with the latest nootropics testing from SOMA Analytics, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you do want to see one of the newest nootropics to hit the market that comes in a powdered format and creates a lovely tasting nootropic drink, then check out this video next, which shows you my caged mindset review. It's a good one, so if you are on the lookout for that instant impact, head there next.